It's a great pleasure to welcome you to Kenton's Kabbalat Shabbat, and I hope you've had a good week. And we're very much looking forward to hearing Stuart leading us this evening. But before that, it's a great pleasure to introduce you, as always, to Leigh, who's going to give us a Dvar Torah. Thank you very much, Leigh.
Oh, right. I have to admit, because Shabbos, everybody, I have to admit that the talk that I planned, I'm not giving, because it got too complicated. So basically, we are currently in year 7 of the 19-year cycle of the Jewish calendar, and for most of those 19 years, the Sedra Pinchas occurs after the fast of Tammuz, and so the Shabbos where the Sedra is Pinchas is the first Shabbos of the 3 weeks. I was going to talk about when it falls outside, but it got so complicated. Anyway, so this Shabbos is Pinchas, which is the first Shabbos of the 3 weeks. And as we know, Pinchas, despite what he did last week, where he kills people, runs a man and a woman through with a sword, the punishment that he gets, which is spoken about in the opening of the Sedra, where God says to Moses, "Don't worry about Pinchas, I'll deal with him," and he gives his covenants with Pinchas, and he lives happily ever after. The 3 weeks is a time of sadness where it marks the beginning of the end of the first temple, because the 17th of Tammuz, there's a breach in the wall, and 3 weeks later, which is Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av, the temple is destroyed. The Shabbos after Tisha B'Av is always the Sedra V'Eschanun, where we read the Haftorah, but it's not known as the Shabbos V'Eschanun, it's known as Shabbos Nachamu, where the Haftorah starts with the words Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami, comfort me. God is speaking, and it says, comfort me, my people. So we have these two extremes. We have Pinchas, who has committed murder, and yet seems to get away with it. And at the end, we have the destruction of the temple. So why is there a connection between these? Why is Pinchas usually the Sedra marking almost the beginning of the 3 weeks, and V'Eschanun marking the end? What is the connection between them? And the amazing thing is that Pinchas has a numerical value of 208. If you analyze the letters of the name, it has a numerical value of 208. And from a gematria point of view, any other phrase that has a value of 208 is equal to it and has a permanent connection. It just so happens that the opening words of the Sedra for V'Eschanun, which is after the destruction of the temple, where God is asking for comfort, so Nachamu, Nachamu, actually to have a gematria of 208. Pinchas and the destruction of the temple, although many hundreds of years apart, are inextricably linked. God got comfort in what Pinchas did. Although he did a bad thing, he got comfort because Pinchas was willing to stand up and fight and stand for what God wanted. At the end of the temple, although the temple has been destroyed, the Jewish people are given another chance, if you like, where God is saying, comfort me by doing the right thing. And therefore, the two things are inextricably linked. Pinchas with a numerical value of 208, and in 3 weeks' time, Shabbos Nachamu, which also has a gematria of 308. The two go hand in hand. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Thank you so much, Leigh. That was superb. Thank you. So shikoyach to you, and it's very informative. Thank you very much indeed. And now it's a great pleasure to hand over to Stuart, who's going to lead us